Okay, friends, we're back. Sorry about that. We have battery backup on everything, but it was the internet that went down for a brief time. So can't do anything about that. I can keep the internet up here if we lose power. I can keep all the computer and the lights on and everything if we lose power. But if the hub of the internet goes down, that is nothing I can help. So appreciate you guys tuning back in. Hi, Fiona. Hi, Farah. We'll just start from here again. By the way, you should have seen how much food I shoveled into my face in the 5 minutes that I wasn't on. So not all was lost while the internet was coming back up. I got a little bit of dinner. Let me show you guys this shot again out of Winter Garden. It's a beautiful shot, but on the left-hand side of your screen, you got part of the nastier cell with that special weather statement. On the right-hand side of your screen, kind of the northern extent of that. Again, gonna take 1 second here just to drop off my name bar. That should automatically go back down, but we'll get that worked on. So again, you know, interesting shot there. Look at that lightning. You guys see that? I'm gonna watch the replay, which is like 30 seconds behind. Oh my goodness. I'm going to see it again here on my end real fast. Look at that lightning. Someone screenshot that. How about that? So, that's why we have these cameras, right? It's an ominous looking sky, but then you saw those bolts come down. Again, this is an intense storm. It's really raining heavy from this camera back south and west. And then even where there's a little bit of clear air, we still have a lot of electricity in the atmosphere. You have these feeder clouds down low here, showing you that there's some low-level instability in association with this broader rotation and then just this broader cell. But an interesting shot indeed. Oh my God, I ate so much. I'm gonna probably have a tummy ache after this, but man, I was like, well, I'm probably gonna be coming back on if the internet goes up, so I better eat while I can. All right, again, I don't want to go far away from that camera. We're going to be looking at that one intensely. We still have the special weather statement now, but as you can see, it is going to be expiring. Let's be clear about a couple of things here, guys. First of all, special weather statements, severe thunderstorm warnings have nothing to do with the intensity of the rain or the lightning count. The only two criteria are winds and hail. You got to have 60-mile-an-hour winds and or inch-size hail to have yourself a severe thunderstorm warning, right? Lower than that, especially in the wind and hail criteria, they'll issue the special weather statements. But you got to have 60s and or inch-size hail for there to be a severe thunderstorm warning. So we could have what we have right now and it not be producing winds of 40 and it not be producing any hail. And there's going to be nothing on this, but we just saw how intense the activity is here. Again, some of this is slipping back east over I-4 in Winter Park, and some of the storms are now building back south and east towards the southern sides of the Metro Orlando area, places like Lake Buena Vista, Lake Butler, Dr. Phillips, Bay Hill, Tangelo Park, Oak Ridge, all included within that. This extent goes back down towards Lake County, moving off towards the east very slowly. And we've had a couple of rogue storms develop in Hillsborough County, just north and west of downtown Orlando, towards Town and Country and the Egypt Lake area, just east of Oldsmar, places like that. 589, by the way, is the Veterans Expressway, so up towards Citrus Park. And I appreciate you guys tuning back in. I apologize if you're just joining me again. The internet went out. One of those things. I've got battery backups and all of that for all of the equipment, but if the internet itself wants to go down, there's not much I can do about that, at least at this point in time, until Elon Musk wants to send me a free Starlink. Maybe we could tell him it's for the greater good, right? All right. Let's look at this camera. If you guys, by the way, missed the lightning at the beginning of this second stream and you're just tuning in now, you got to go back and look at some of the lightning that we picked up from this camera. Thank you, Rhea. Thank you, Farah. Thank you, Fiona. I appreciate you. Yeah, you got to go back out. You got to go back and look some of the lightning that came through. So again, you know, not severe any longer, not even a special weather statement, but very heavy rain, just a lot of cloud to ground lightning, and you can still see that lightning. There's a blue to that, man. There's like this hue to some of that lightning that we're seeing from this camera at the hour, man. And of course, your current live conditions across Central Florida here at 7:32 on this Tuesday will be scrolling at the bottom of your screen. So you can always keep an eye out for what's been happening in your area here as well. And again, sunsets basically now, higher register now. Oh boy. Someone who does not appreciate these shorter days is my wife. Does not like the darkness falling earlier. And don't even want to think about early November yet when we lose daylight saving time. So again, back over here. As I've mentioned to you guys as well, you know, we've got this cluster of storms. It's not severe, but I do want to keep an eye out for the heavier rainfall out of this. So we'll switch over to our 8 other data points here. Drop this off. Let's see here. I'm going to look at precip amounts. 1 hour. Let's see how much rain has fallen in this area over the last hour. So again, it's a great indication for, you know, where could there be some flash flooding. And along 27, we've had over 2 inches of rain in a couple of spots. And then that secondary area I kind of mentioned in the eastern sides of Ocoee towards the Gotha area, 408, even as far east as Pine Hills, we had a couple of spots of around 2 inches. Now, typically 2-inch per hour rainfall rates, as long as we're not throwing on 2 to 3 hours in a row like that, we can handle it, but that could still cause some isolated flooding in a couple of spots, low-lying areas, flood-prone positions. But you get the idea how intense some of this rain has been in just the last hour in these areas. And then currently, the precip rate. So what is the precip rate right now, right? So some of the heavy rain over the last hour is shifting to the south. So currently, as we speak, kind of in the Hamlet area, just west of Lake Butler, you're getting a couple of bullseyes of over 4 inches per hour. Again, it's not going to last for an hour, but that's the intense rain that's coming into that area. Right over Metro West, we've got a bullseye of nearly 3 inches of rain an hour. The Oak Ridge area, about 1 inch, nothing outrageous. Turnpike area there near Metro West, about 1 inch as well. Again, a little bit of lightning even towards Winter Park. They have about 3/4 of an inch per hour rainfall right there, Eatonville and Fairview Shores. And again, down in Polk County, it's the same situation. It's pushing farther south and east, but you got a couple of spots with more than, you know, 1 inch to 2 inches here, and then down in the Crooked Lake Park area. How about that? South of Lake Wales, pretty far south, 3.5 inches. And then look at this one. Look at this one over Town and Country. This is what I'm talking about. When you get this cell, it kind of just develops by itself. Man, in this environment, can you get some massive rainfall and some potential flooding? Now, of course, okay, it just came back on. I was like, don't go away from now. But amazing. And again, rainfall has nothing to do with severe thunderstorm criteria, special weather statement criteria. They'll issue a flood advisory there if they have to, but you're not going to see that crop up in that regard. Let's see if they have. They haven't as of yet, even with that one in Town and Country. All right, let's go back over to our weather computer. Trying to break apart a little bit. That's what I like to see. Wrong button. That also happens from time to time. Just want to keep an eye on this camera while we still have daylight. You notice that everything is kind of flattened out a little bit. We've lost a little bit of the instability. As we lose the daylight, you lose the heat in the lower levels of the atmosphere, and that can help stabilize things as well. This is exactly what I would expect given our current situation when we're talking about localized showers and storms out there. Welcome back, Kevin, by the way. And you're right, Sean, hurricane season is ramping up. There's no doubt about that as well. So this is what I would expect. Hopefully from here on out, the intensity of this activity is going to begin to wane, right? We don't even have a special weather statement anymore, but I certainly wanted to come back on to track this to see if, this cell would either maintain its strength or roll over this camera, but it's beginning to fade a bit now. The lightning is still intense in this area. Again, I urge you, if you didn't join the second live stream at the beginning, go back, scrub back through at the beginning. There's 2 lightning bolts right in perfect view of this camera that had this electric blue hue to them. Really, really interesting. All right. Go back out to the big view here. Does anyone have any specific questions about the forecast? Certainly, it appears that these storms are beginning to come down in intensity a little bit, which is good. Again, losing the daylight in the heat of the day is a part of that journey. The rain is picking up a bit over Maitland and Winter Park, but nothing outrageous. I like the trends that I'm seeing here. Overall, even on the eastern and southeastern leading edge of this, you notice that we don't have the fuchsias and the blues and the whites anymore. Not as intense. Still some good rain for Millennia and Dr. Phillips. Still some decent lightning out of this. 26 lightning strikes in this view in the last 15 minutes. But ultimately, I don't see these more than likely ramping back up in intensity. If we take a look at the overall movement over the last half hour, again, this is all kind of just filling in here. This activity has pushed south while also building a bit east, so a little bit more of I-4 comes into play. But the intensity is coming back down. This is going to make a run towards Lake Buena Vista, right? Certainly, if you look to the north from the attractions area right now, you're seeing some really dark clouds and probably a fair amount of lightning, probably running some folks indoors, and that's not a bad thing. Let that run over you, let this fade out, and we'll be in a better situation fairly soon. While we're here, Sean mentioned hurricane season. I'm happy to just show you guys a quick perspective of this. Just gonna take off the lightning because it's easier. We have a tropical wave or an invest area over the Leeward Islands, which will likely develop late this week or maybe even not this weekend in the Turks and Caicos or the Bahamas. I mentioned the cold front in the first stream that is forecast to dive into Florida. This should pick up what could become a tropical storm or even a hurricane and push it east. Now, are there a few outlier models that try and bring potential impacts to Florida? Yes. I don't believe that that is the most likely scenario at this point in time. When you look at our spaghetti plots, which by the way, are just running on this new invest, so there's gonna be a lot of dispersal with it, but most of them have this turn paralleling Florida and then moving up the United States East Coast. Again, what's of interest is that there is another invest 93L, which is likely to develop shortly, which could actually interact with invest 94L. And that could be a really wild scenario. Does one overtake the other? Does one absorb the other? But they're both generally tracking off towards the west. But at this point in time, with both of these, I don't expect direct impacts outside of kicking up the surf and sea conditions and maybe some beach hazards for our East Coast. That's what I expect of that. Now again, I cover the severe storms here in Central Florida on this channel, but I also do the Monday and Friday live shows. Monday's live show at 1 o'clock covers the week ahead, where I get you guys prepared. We mentioned this in yesterday's live stream at 1 o'clock, that storms today could be a little bit more prominent across I-4. Wasn't necessarily expecting there to be a severe storm, but a little bit more rowdy storms, so we had that today. I do expect it to be a little bit quieter tomorrow and then potentially picking back up on Thursday. But when I see you guys for Friday's live show at 1 o'clock, we can talk a lot more about the tropics as we did in Monday's show. Obviously, a few more days from now, we might have a little bit more clarity on what's happening with both of those invests. It's not going to be surprising if we at least have one named storm, which would be named Umberto, and then down the road, potentially getting Imelda, which would be the one closer to us here in Central Florida. But by Friday's show, we should have a much better idea on things. And there's a new hurricane in the Eastern Pacific, indeed. You got it, Amy. Always watching it for you guys this time of the year. Note that, first of all, during the Monday and Friday shows, if there's any tropical interest, we'll talk about that. And if you guys joined me last year, right, if there's any potential impacts to Central Florida, I'll be live. Just like I was for Hurricane Helene, just like I was for Hurricane Milton, right? So if there's anything heading our way, you'll know about it ahead of time, and I'll cover it for you guys live here as well. Let's go back over to our cameras. Let's check in some of the cameras we haven't seen here in just a second. Winter Park looks pretty good. Again, there's been a little bit of rain and a few strokes of lightning, but with this camera looking off towards the east, we're not really picking up much on that. It's going to be a beautiful sunset there in the Conway area. We're looking again east, where we've had a little bit of overshooting clouds, but nothing more than that. Again, it looks okay in the attractions right now, but I'm still concerned about a little bit on the way of some lightning getting closer to that area, although it still looks calm at this point in time. So again, for our friends in the attractions, just be very cautious. And just that now really dark veil of clouds in Winter Garden. Everything is kind of thinned out a bit. We don't have as much instability. Things are quieting down. This is what we like to see. Still pockets of intense weather, still some fair amount of lightning, but overall the higher end opportunity out of this is beginning to wane as we lose the heat of the day. And again, no special weather statements at this point in time. So friends, I do believe we are in the clear. Does not mean that you won't get some heavier rain and some gusty winds and some lightning. I'll bring the lightning data back on for you guys. So within this view in the last 15 minutes, 30 lightning strikes, but nothing crazy. So I think what we're going to do is I think we're going to wrap this up. Please remember that CFLW is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They do offer free consultation and policy reviews. So a storm comes into your area, you get damage of any kind, they'll walk you through that insurance claim process. It's leanomelaw.com if you guys would like more information. As always, I do appreciate you guys taking part of your day, spending it with me. If you get anything out of these live streams, thanks for taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me, subscribing to the channel. Both help out the channel more than you guys could think. I know it can be a hassle sometimes to take a second and hit that like button, but if you guys interact with the channel either by liking, subscribing, or especially dropping in the comment section below something, YouTube likes that as well, and they will help to support the channel a little bit more as well. All right, I'll be monitoring the situation. If there's an opportunity to come back on live the next couple of days to track additional impactful weather here in Central Florida, I will. If not, I'd love to see you guys for Friday's live show at 1 o'clock for CFLW The Show. Remember, that live stream that I do on Monday and Fridays becomes a recorded version under the live tab. So even if you can't watch it live, you can check it out, and there's plenty of information for the next several days. For Friday's show, we'll talk about Friday's forecast and the week ahead. We'll look at the tropics. I'll have some city-by-city forecasts. Love to interact with you guys as well, so I hope you can join me for that live version. Again, appreciate everyone. Thanks for taking a quick second and hitting that like button. And on the way out, until I see you next time, my friends, take care.